Welcome to Creepin' It Real. I am Judah. Let's talk about the 2023 splatter comedy known as Toxic Avenger. This is a reboot of the original that I think was released in 1984 or 83. I can't remember exactly. And some of you might be questioning, what do you mean it came out in 2023? It just saw it in the cinema yesterday. Well, that's because it was doing some festival runs back in 2023 and is just now getting its wide release. There are some reports that after its festival run, that some people were saying that it was unreleasable. I did find those comments online, but I couldn't really find anything to confirm the reasoning, though it might be the gore. I can say that since I've watched it, there are things that are far worse. I mean, let's talk about Terrifier. So I'm not really sure what it was that was holding people back from that. But it did finally get an unrated release that I saw the other day.
There are still no leads as to the identity of
the freaky folk hero remains at large. Sir, what did you see last night?
I heard gunshots, saw blood. Handsome fella had his arm tore off like wet bread, and the creature run off into the night.
He looks like a fucked up hot dog. That part was very shocking to me. Motherfucker.
Can we put that up? Anyone that may have encountered the stranger. Breaking news, a group of armed extremists, the Nasty Lads.
Now, it was very clear to me that this whole skit right here, the Nasty Lads, was supposed to be a jab at conservatives, the MAGA crowd in particular, the Nasty Lads, obviously being a spoof of the Proud Boys. Now, what is kind of funny to me, like the whole scenario didn't make me laugh, but the fact of, art meets reality kind of scenario right now is part of the Nasty Lads complaints. They go into this restaurant, they take it over, and they're pissed off because this restaurant has been renamed, if I'm remembering correctly. It used to be called Mr. Meats, and now it has been changed to Miss Meats. So part of their big complaint is that this restaurant was always Mr. Meats, it was never Miss Meats, and how dare they, change the mascot and the logo. Again, that whole thing is not funny to me. Watching it play out in the movie, I was just kind of like, What is interesting to me is the release of this movie being so close to the backlash that Cracker Barrel just, experienced with their change of their logo. Now, I am a graphic artist, and I'm not going to say that I am the greatest graphic artist, but I've come up with some logos that I really love in my lifetime. And I can look at logos and be like, hey, that's a good logo, or that's kind of a crappy logo. My personal opinion, and I've only been to Cracker Barrel once in my life, is that logo has always been garbage. Ultimately, I think art is subjective. Logos are about branding, about recognition. And despite the fact that I don't like the Cracker Barrel logo, I knew what it was. And everybody knew what it was. So when there was that change, I was like, wow, it's a much cleaner, better logo. It was still dog trash logo, but it was cleaner and it was better than the original. So for me, I was like, well, they finally changed that hideous logo and they're going to this. Obviously in my head, I'm like, I'm not sure that's a great idea. I'm not sure the branding is going to transfer the way they want, but there's a whole lot more involved in that. But apparently there was an uproar over it and they've switched back. I don't even have a dog in this race or this fight. Horse in the race? It's one of those things. I don't have a dog or a horse in this.
They've taken hostages at a Miss Meat Lunchatorium downtown.
Let's go live.
We are the Nasty Lads! We are angry! Go, go, go! Who the fuck are you?
What the hell is that?
The Toxic Avenger.
That's what the kids are calling him. I think it's swell.
I could definitely see how this was, the gore was over the top for some people. It didn't particularly bother me. And once again, I could see people being like, well, how is it that Terrifier bothers you, but this one doesn't? I don't know. It's the tone, man. It's the tone for some reason. And Terrifier is just trash. That's just all there is to it. I don't have a lot to say about this movie. The most disappointing thing for me was when I walked out, I was like, I have nothing to say about this at all. I never have sat through a full viewing of the original Toxic Avenger. I've seen bits and pieces. So it's I'm not coming at this as I'm a huge fan of the franchise, and I'm here to nitpick because I don't like what they did to my franchise. It's always been Mr. Meat. How dare they make it Mrs. Meat, Miss Meat? I can't do that. But I have seen clips, long extended, portions viewed, but never the full thing. And I can say that this definitely isn't a remake of the original. I mean, the title characters don't even have the same name. I mean, they have the same like superhero name, but the people, the characters that become the Toxic Avengers, they don't even have the same names from the original to this one. Now, there are some, okay. So the original, you got this nerdy guy, and a lot of things are propelled just through the evilness of people not being able to leave others alone, having to get into other people's business simply because, they don't look like them or something. Very much a bully type scenario. That's what the original was, that gets the title character in the situation where he becomes a Toxic Avenger and then has this innate drive to kill evil people. In this movie, it's way more emotional and parental driven, and more of a big corporation not caring about the little people kind of a scenario versus just bullies. So for me, I felt that was more engaging. There's definitely the toxic character played by Peter Dinklage. He has a stepson. His wife, I guess they weren't even married according to the movie. All spoilers, by the way. His stepson, he's concerned about his stepson. He finds out that Peter Dinklage finds out he has some kind of a brain issue that one of the jokes is you never really find out what it is, because every time they talk about it, there's like some kind of a jackhammer in the background that covers everything up. So you never fully know what it is that he's facing. And his insurance won't cover the treatment. So there is a bit of stuff here that really can connect to everyone at this point. Well, I mean, except if you're really young and you're not really dealing with insurance and having health issues, but someone around my age where you're starting to see parts of your body falling apart and you're like, what the heck? Where did that pain come from? And insurance not being what it needs to be, all that kind of stuff. Also, caring for someone, knowing there's somebody who's dependent on you. So there is definitely a deeper emotional tie, in my opinion, for this reboot. I did feel that the reboot attempted to pay homage to the original with the look and feel of the set pieces. There was some good practical effects in here. There was like a puppet chicken, mutant chicken, that was done quite well. I felt the makeup for the Toxic Avenger was decent. But let's be honest. We all knew what we were getting into when we went to see this movie. I mean, no one's surprised Anybody who goes to see this and is all like, oh, there was gore and it was stupid and it was goofy. I don't know, what did you think you were going to go see? That's exactly what these movies are. So it's difficult for me in one aspect, people being like, oh, it was just hideous. And I'm like, yeah, that's what these are. That's what these are. I mean, I feel like everybody knows before they go whether or not they're going to like this or not. Now we're going to dive into IMDb and see where the average viewer is landing. I can tell you, I did a quick peek, and actually, let's just look at it right now. It's at a 5.9. But we have more 10s up here, but that's a lot of 1s. I feel that this, just based off of this, I feel like this is somewhat of a polarizing movie. I do have a personal beef with Peter Dinklage. Why? It's stupid. I'm not going to lie. When the whole Snow White kind of fiasco was going on for Disney, Peter Dinklage came out and said something. This is my paraphrase, by the way. He said something like, I think society has moved on past, using little people in these kind of dwarf things. And I just think it's really sad that the Disney's going to be doing this.
The Game of Thrones star, who has a form of dwarfism, slammed Disney during an interview on Mark Maron's WTF podcast, saying that while he thinks the studio took one step forward casting the lead, they took 2 giant steps backward, perpetuating old stereotypes.
I was a little taken back by the they're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
But you're still telling the story of Snow White,
yeah.
7 Dwarfs.
Sure.
So take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of 7 Dwarfs.
So then, basically making it seem like it's such a horrible thing to be a little person and then be cast in a little person role. Peter Dinklage, he can be the only famous little person. Nobody else can work, only him. So that should have been 7 jobs going out to the little people community, playing roles that are basically meant for them. But no, Disney's no, we can't do that. Apparently, because Peter Dinklage says it's bad, we can't do this. And there is some back and forth online that you will find where, some of the little people community are like, oh, Peter Dinklage, you're a dick.
It was Dinklage, and then he kicked a lot of us out of a movie. So now it's me.
Did he kick a lot of you out of the movie?
Indirectly.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Because he wanted to be the only one of your people in it?
Yeah.
Tell me what happened.
Well, he was on the Mark Maron podcast, and they brought up the Snow White live action film, and then Dinklage, I call him Dink. Anyway, Dink was on the podcast going, well, are we still doing this Snow White dwarf thing? Are we still going to do this? And literally the next week, Disney announced no dwarves in Snow White. We're not actually using dwarves.
There was a big announcement?
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, yeah, Peter's a dick. He wants to be the only famous little person out there. So I don't have a big, fan feel for Peter Dinklage. When I watched the movie, I was like, man, he's doing a decent job, I'm not going to lie, of being this, the stepdad that is trying to engage with his stepson, but doesn't want to overstep his bounds and is desiring to be loved by this child, but is also an awkward person, doesn't know his place, doesn't know how to assert himself fully, and I felt he did a good job. Now, this morning, when I jump online to start reading information about the Toxic Avenger to pass it on to you, I found out that Peter Dinklage didn't even wear the freaking suit in the movie. What? Louisa, I won't even attempt to say her last name because I can't get my R's to roll. She would be dressed up in this foam costume, which was apparently 110 degrees inside and 35 pounds of foam. And then Dinklage would then re-voice over as he watched her. Come on, Dinklage, put on the makeup. Do it yourself, man. That's just my feelings. Just my feelings. Okay, where am I landing for this movie? I wasn't a fan. I knew what I was getting when I went in there. I think that you should wait for streaming. Do not pay. Now, granted, I had a gift card that somebody gave me like 5 years ago, and I used my gift card, so I didn't have to pay for it. I was actually thrilled about that. So there's that. I would wait. See it on streaming, and I think you will enjoy it much more. I did feel, based off of what I have seen from the original, this movie lacked what I am going to call a greasiness. I wish I could explain what I mean better, but I don't think I can. Maybe it's just the film quality. The film quality of the original felt grittier and greasier, like icky. And this felt like a polished turd, basically. And I'm not using turd to be derogatory. It's just the whole base of the movie is toxic waste and dirty and filthy. Tromaville is filled with all kinds of pollutant and people throwing trash on the ground. So it's gross. So it's like a very polished turd. That's what I mean. Okay, I want to be clear on what I'm saying there. Would I watch it again? If somebody else hadn't seen it and they were interested in seeing it, I would sit there with them for sure. But I'm not going to watch this ever again. So I think I'm going to land at a 5 out of 10. Now let's go check out some things on IMDb. Let's start with the ones. Okay, I just want to point out here, it says the worst horror film to be released this year. Probably the worst horror film of the decade. Is this a horror film? Serious question to everybody out there. Is this a horror film? I don't think it is. And I've been thinking about this more since I have posed the question, what horror film do you think balances horror and comedy the best? Some people thought that Weapons. I disagree. I brought up that I think that maybe Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz, but then somebody said, no, you're full of crap. Those movies suck and they're boring. Okay. Then I was like, you know what? They really aren't horror movies. They're comedy filled with gore. This is, in my opinion, a splatter comedy. It's just comedy filled with gore. Where is the horror? It's not. It's more of a dramedy with gore in it, in my personal opinion. I want to know where you land. Leave a comment. I want to know if you think that this is supposed to be a horror movie or if you think it's more of a hybrid something that's a mix and not really a horror. So I'm not sure about this person here who's giving this a 1 out of 10. Let's go with Danzaville right here. Let's see what Danzaville has to say. Worst film I've ever seen. Saw the new uncut version of this absolute toilet cinema as part of a blind early showing. Okay. See, I get this. This person went in not knowing what they were going to get. So I can understand the complete disappointment. Okay, that makes sense to me. An early upcoming horror film. Again, the horror. Let's discuss this. I want to know what you guys think out there. Was slightly disappointed when learning that it was Toxic Avenger and the opening credits. Absolute terrible film. The best part was when I got up and left early and got an hour back. Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and I'm going to jump to this. This is an article on Yahoo.com, Entertainment and Movies. It says why the Toxic Avenger fans are walking out of early screenings. One, I think this is misleading. It is saying they're fans. I don't think that these people were fans. If we go down here, it says right here, the Toxic Avenger fans claim screenings are causing walkouts due to its gore. I'm not buying it. Audience members who have attended early screenings of the Toxic Avengers report major walkouts. Some person on X, formerly Twitter, mentioned it's the most walkouts they've ever had with a screening. Another person detailed a similar experience on Reddit. 4 people left once the title card came up. See, now these are people who knew As soon as they saw Toxic Avenger, they knew what they were in store for. So they knew immediately they weren't going to like it, and they took off. These were not fans, okay? Again, misleading headline. They shared then another 4 after about 10, 15 minutes. Stopped counting after another few people got up and to go as well. See, that's very, very interesting to me. It's misleading. And as I said, if you know about Toxic Avenger, you know what you're getting into. You already basically know whether or not you're going to like this movie or not. And if you feel like you're not going to, do not go see this. Oh my gosh, don't go see this. So that's very interesting to me. Okay, we only have one posted 10. Don't miss seeing this with the audience. When I went, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were 7 other people. So, and this was a Thursday night viewing, but there was only 7 people. And not gonna lie, they were all white and nobody was talking. Nobody was excited. Nobody was getting up and clapping. There was no laughing throughout the movie whatsoever. There was no reaction from any of the other 7 people in that cinema. So let's read. This is from Cameron Kurtmore. Just left this review. Okay. No, on the 15th, they left this review. Don't miss seeing this with an audience. Got to experience this in person with a group of people. This is one of those films that you'll regret not seeing with a packed theater opening weekend. Not true. I'm sorry, Cameron. That is not true. You should wait for streaming. And if you're into alcohol, get your buddies over with some beer and pizza and die laughing together in the comfort of your own home. That's what you need to do. I knew of the Toxic Avenger going into the film, but I had never seen the original 80s version until after. This movie was made in a way that people unfamiliar with the original film can still enjoy it, but services the true fans as well. I don't disagree with that. I totally don't disagree with that. Whether or not true fans are going to enjoy this, now that's another thing. So I'm not going to lie. I feel like what I'm finding from IMDb are not coming from fans. I feel like both. I mean, it was obviously stated in the 10 out of 10 that this person was only aware of it but had never seen it. And the person from the 1 out of 10, they were aware of it also, and they knew that they weren't going to like it. So I want to hear from true fans. I give it a 5 out of 10 as someone who's not a fan of the Toxic Avenger franchise. Just someone who is going in trying to give their opinion of a movie. I was not dissuaded by the gore, and I did feel that there was a better emotional attachment in the reboot. But I want to hear from you. Please leave a comment letting me know your thoughts about the Toxic Avenger reboot. And if you have a suggestion of other movies that I should check out, I would love to hear them. I will take the time to check them out. And also, again, to reiterate, I want to know if you think that Toxic Avenger actually should be in the horror genre, or if it should just be in splatter comedy genre. That's where I personally am leaning. Please like, subscribe, and share. And if you made it this far, you get a gold star. You're a champ. Thanks for sticking around. I'm Judah. This has been Creepin' It Real, and I'll see you later.